Okay, got another helicopter here. This is a little bit more advanced one than other helicopters I've reviewed previously. This is my first collective pitch helicopter, and I think this is also similar to the one that also from XK, I think it was the EC145 or the K124, something like that. I'm actually going to review this one first instead of the other one. This one's actually a two-blader, not a four-blader, so it should be a little bit easier to fly. I've seen videos in this one before where it's actually pretty easy to fly, and it does 3D mode and 6G mode, so it's stabilized, good for beginners, and if you want to do all the collective pitch, inverted stuff, 3D stuff, I heard this is a good one to learn on, which is something I plan on doing with this one to start off with, because I've never done any of that collective pitch stuff before. So yeah, I think there's a lot of reviews in this one already, but let's just take a look at what we got in the box. I think this one comes with the transmitter. There's a version that doesn't come with the transmitter, but this one does come with the XK transmitter, which is Futaba based. Okay, so we get a little instruction manual for the remote, and that's what the remote looks like. It's a pretty nice remote. I think it's going to be more hobby grade than toy grade. And that's what the copter looks like. This is the manual for the copter. I'm not going to obviously go over this real quick, it's just an unboxing, but XK stuff is fairly good. In terms of documentation, is fairly good, so this should be pretty easy to just figure out just by reading on it. And there's obviously a list of parts as well, so in case you crash it and want to repair it. I think spare parts are also available for this one. This is a very popular model right now. Okay, so in the box you get the box for the radio, the helicopter, and then you have another box for spare parts, looks like. Okay, so we'll just look at the box with the copter in it. And it comes quite well packaged here. There's a little foam here to hold the blades in so it's not flopping around inside the box. And there's a little cover here for the parts inside. This is just, looks like it's just a couple grommets here, and it should come right off. You have a receiver board, you got some servos obviously for the collective pitch blades, and ESC maybe. I think this is brushless. I think this is 1106 size motor here. I think it runs off a 1S battery, a little micro low-C connector. Pretty amazing that it runs off a 1S. You got a little brushed motor in the back, pretty light. Yeah, I'm looking forward to flying this. So yeah, I'll review video on this one coming up soon. Okay, so I got some new stuff here from NewBeeDrone. I think this is going to be like kind of a build kit for their new BeeBrain Lite, and this is their new all-in-one board for their brushed, I think it's like the Acroby, it's going to be similar to the Acroby V2. I suppose it's going to be the V3. It's not really out yet. So this is a beta test version, and this has a camera, flight board. On the flight board you have an F4 processor, you have your receiver, and you have your video transmitter all on a single board, which is pretty amazing. So it's ought to be pretty light. I'm going to build it with this and the new cockroach frame, and these new motors here. These are the gold edition 6mm, the BDR73s. They also sent some more of their nitro nectar batteries, high volt 250 milliamp hours. And I guess I'll be using the props they sent here. These are the actually King Kong LDARC 31mm props that are tri-bladed. So yeah, so I'll have a video and I'll put this together. It should be pretty easy. You just have the frame, stick in the motors into the frame, and then you mount the, this is the BeeBrain Lite, and plug in the motors into that, and obviously bind up the receiver and all that. And so, yeah, first of all, I'll just show you this really quick. Okay, so there's two main pieces here. You got your board, and you have your camera here. The camera's a little plug there, and it just plugs into the board right there. And this is, I think, one of their standard Acroby mounts for the camera. And this is the board. It's got a really large capacitor on there. This has an F4 Betaflight OSD. I think it's like a special chip for the Betaflight OSD. You got a little receiver antenna here. This is your video transmitter antenna. And it looks like it's directly soldered on there. 25 milliwatt video transmitter. You got this is the F4 chip, F411 chip. Everything's super tiny. I think the FETs on here, the brush FETs on here, are up to like 16 amps or something like that. Little micro USB port. Your battery connectors are already soldered on, so it's all pretty plug and play. You're pretty much ready to go. You have some mounting hardware, some grommets and screws and stuff to mount to the frame. So this ought to come together pretty easily. So I'll just do that really quickly in the build for this, so stay tuned for that video. Okay, so I got another folding selfie drone here. This is actually a little bigger one with brushless motors. It's called the FunSnap idle drone. And we'll see what we got in the box here. Okay, so we got another box inside that box, and this is what comes inside it. Pretty nice setup here. You got your battery charger. Looks like got some battery over there. The drone's probably inside that zippered case. Controller. Got some props, and you got your wall charger right there. Yeah, so the zipper case is pretty nice. I think this is where the actual drone is inside. And it actually is a bit smaller than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a bit bigger. So these have a set of props already on here. I think these here are just some spares. And then this is the battery. It just goes in here. Yeah, actually the other way around looks like goes like that. And I think it just unfold it. Yeah, so it looks like there's some magnets here that will hold the drone together when it's flying. And we have, I think there's an optical flow sensor on the bottom. And there's a camera here, there's a power button here. I think the camera is over here. Looks like they got some tape covering the lens. And I think this is on a swivel. It might be mechanical, it might be something you can move down via the controller. I'm not sure. Looks pretty nice. Yeah, I'm not sure what size motors are. These look like maybe 11 size, 13 size motors. So get this in the air pretty soon. Should be pretty simple. I think you just use the controller and then Wi-Fi FPV for the video, like a lot of these other selfie drones out there. But this one looks like might be a little bit better than your typical one out there. So I'll have a video on this coming up pretty soon. Okay, so the new Zing motors are coming from iFlight RC. They're coming in different sizes, 2206, 2207, and 2306, and a variety of KVs as well. So here's the full lineup. As you can see here, 3 different 2206s, 4 different 2207s, and 2 different 2306s. So yeah, I think they sent me the 1700 2207 KV version for this one, so I'll be doing a 7-inch build with this one in a future video. Let's take a quick look at the motors look like. Okay, get your prop nut and a few mounting screws. It looks like it has some Loctite already on it. And here's what the motor looks like. This kind of bubble design here, curved side. Got this sort of very interesting top design here where the air goes in. Kind of reminds me of a jet engine. Hollow shaft, I believe it's a titanium hollow shaft. And it looks like it's a 16 by 16 millimeter hole pattern. And you got a nice set of, well, I'm not sure if those are curved or not. They look flat. Single stranded copper wire. Not very notchy, so I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. If you like notchy motors out, they're very smooth. And you have a single screw in the bottom here for changing out the bell. You just take that off, and then you can swap out the bell if you want to do that. We got some 20 gauge wire here for the motor wires and plenty of length. Let's see. So it looks like we got almost 6 inches of motor wire if you happen to need that much motor wire. Anyways, this is going to go into the HL7 version 2 frame. Not sure exactly when that video is going to be coming up, but it shouldn't be too long. I have the motors, I have a flight stack now for that build, and I should be putting that build together pretty soon, so stay tuned for that video. Okay, so the ET115 version 2 is coming, so the whole ET series has now been updated to version 2 from LDARC, formerly known as King Kong. Same nice case that they've been putting all of their recent models in. And just a quick look at what we got in the box. Just got the drone, different color canopies. This is the original canopy from the original version 1 of the ET series. Now you got a new canopy here. This one's the dark one with this comes with the white prop guards instead of the black one. It's kind of a nice color scheme. But I think for the ET100 version 2 and ET125 version 2, I don't think the specs have changed a whole lot. What they've added is a flight controller with a Betaflight OSD now. This new canopy, I think the video transmitter is the same, the camera is the same. But on the 115 here, version 2, they've gone from a 2S setup to a 3S setup. They've changed the kV of the motor. They've gone from the JST to an XT30. And now we have the 1104 5500 kV motor, so that we can now do 3S on this 2.3 inch prop. They do have these little interesting little caps on here for the props and the motors. It's probably mostly cosmetic, I think, but that's pretty much it. Same frame, same prop guards, just in a different color. Same video transmitter and everything. So I think that for the most part it should fly similarly. Obviously this is now 3S and not 2S, so I think this is going to be better, a better model in the version 2 versus the version 1. I don't think you can see that much difference on the version 2 with the ET100 and the ET125. I am going to get the ET125 and we'll see how much different that is from the version 1. But I think this one is going to be a lot better than the version 1 of the ET115. So obviously running on 3S. Anyway, I'll have a review video on this coming up soon. Okay, so the Eachine ETS130 has finally come in. This is their new 3-inch high performance micro. Alright, so in the box you got a couple sets of these Dal Cyclone T3056 props, so 3-inch props from Dal. And there's a bag here. I think this is a battery protection plate, since this is a bottom mounted battery drone. You get some zip ties. Couple of these carbon fiber wrenches for the prop nuts, and we get some screws, extra screws, and we get some lock nuts for the motors. And it looks like they have the regular and the reverse. I'm not sure why anyone still uses reverse nuts anymore. Okay, so here's the drone itself. Pretty huge motors on here, very notchy. You can actually hear it turn, so it's actually pretty hard to turn. It's very strong magnets. 1507 4100 kV. We'll have to see how hot these get. Usually these notchy motors get pretty hot. Looks like they're flat magnets, but a very tight air gap. Open bottom design. Looks like it's a 12mm hole pattern for this motor. Obviously you have the reverse prop nuts going on here, so probably standard rotation. So yeah, I'll have to just go with the standard rotation on this one. Obviously it looks like a little miniature, I think it was the TS215, same shape. Kind of looks like a little micro floss. Got that little top plate, similar top plate here, but it does expose the stack. This is plug and play, so it just comes a little servo lead here for a receiver. I just cut it off, soldered on an XM Plus. Got a stack here, the video transmitter with a little whip antenna and a micro FL connector. Probably could switch it out for something better. And but I'm going to fly it with just this as it came. F4 flight controller and a 4-in-1 ESC. I'm not sure if it's BLHeli32 or BLHeli-S. Check the link down below for more information. Fox here, this is a Fox here micro arrow, and it's got a little TPU printed part there for the mount. And I think these are M2 standoffs. You got 3 M2 standoffs, and yeah, got a little nice little battery strap here, XT30. So I'll get this up in the air pretty soon. Probably have to use a pretty big battery. I think it'll suck down the amps. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be pretty fast too. So stay tuned for the video. I'll have that one coming up pretty soon. Okay, so I got another 5-inch drone here from HobbyMate. This is their Meteor frame. This is the bind and fly version. So I think it comes in just like the Comet with the in terms of a kit where you can build it, or the plug and play, no receiver, and then bind and fly. I think the receiver options are XM Plus, XSR, and R9 Mini are the receiver options, I believe. You got some documentation here on looks like the video transmitter and some extra wires and pin diagram looks like on the flight controller. And this is the Typhoon 32 ESC. I think it's a 32-bit ESC. I think it's the same one that's on the Comet as well. And we got a manual for the RXSR receiver, so the RXSR receiver version. Silicon nut for the battery pad on the bottom. And we got an OSD joystick controller board for a Foxeer camera. Okay, got the drone out of there, and this come with the Foxeer Lollipop 2 antenna. And let's see what kind of camera we got here. This looks... actually, I'm not sure what camera this is. Either the Aero Micro Pro or the Predator. I'm not 100% sure. We've seen the Meteor frame already. I did a giveaway in that frame. If you guys missed that, the giveaway's over already. And then this one has newer motors compared to the Comet. That one had 2305 motors. This one has 2306 motors, and I believe the one they sent me for the Comet was a 6S setup. This is a 4S setup with the 2750 kV, so pretty high kV motor. These are made by RCN Power. Very nice motors here. Got your antennas here on the arms for the receiver. Obviously the Foxeer antenna is going to go in the back here like so. Yeah, pretty nice frame. Not sure which flight controller. I think it's the same one. Yeah, I think it's the same one that is on the Comet, the Omnibus F4 from Airbot. So these are both Airbot boards. They're very nice boards. Overall price on this one on the Comet is going to be really low for what you get. I think it's the same video transmitter as well, from what I can tell. Looks like the receiver is zip tied on top of there. Pretty nice. You've seen the frame review already. Individual arms. You got a bottom plate here, stack, side cage, aluminum side cage here. You got a little sandwich plate. Should be pretty solid. Stretch X. And nice flat bottom there with these countersink screws. You can put your battery strap and silicone pad there. And you got your XT60 in the back here. Probably you need to zip tie this to one of the arms like that for strain relief. Yeah, overall this looks like it's going to be a really nice flyer, so I'll have a video review on this coming up soon, and we'll see how this thing performs. Okay, so this is the FXT T72 Mars Pro version 2 camera. I think this is a micro size camera. So this is the one with the 1000 TV line sensor, 4:3 aspect ratio. So I think this is an updated version of that Predator sensor. I think it's got different lens, different field of view, something like that. I saw a little something previously from the, comparing that to the version 1 and the Predator, and it did look like it had slightly different field of view. Okay, looks like you got your standard stuff here, screws, washers, you got your controller board there, you got your wiring loom. I think an OSD joystick is going to be, yeah, this OSD joystick there, and you got a little mount. I think that converts it to a full size, and this is for the micro size. And that's what it looks like. Yeah, it's got the same case as before. Looks like the lens might be a little different. Don't remember exactly. And the connectors are the same. So it looks like there's obviously version 2. They made some tweaks. We'll take a look at this in the review and see what's different. Okay, so now we have the tiny GT8 and GT7. This is from LDARC. I think this one here, the 7 is 75 millimeters, and the 8 I think is like 88 millimeters, I believe. So obviously some different size props. This one's gonna be a little bit bigger. These motors have bearings, unlike for these, like, I think they're like 0804, I believe. I'll take a look at that when I take it out. But this one looks like it's going to be heavier and probably more durable than most of the other ones you've seen out there, like the Tiny Hawk or the Mobula 7. And these are 2S. This is kind of in between, like the probably like the Beta 75X, 65X, Mobula 7, that sort of range, and like the ET series, which is like a super tank. This is probably somewhere in between that. So I guess this series has a little bit of a different case. Got a like nice little handle here. Looks like a little QC sticker here. And yeah, everything looks like it's stored inside. Okay, so it looks like this comes with a new kind of a battery. This is the 7 380 milliamp hour 2S, and it just comes with a balance lead, so no discharge leads. I guess that's how it's going to be connected to the little drone here. And yeah, this is definitely on the heavier side, but here's the connection here. It's just a balance connector. It has a proprietary board in here that has the ESCs and flight controller. These motors here, LDARC branded 9,000 kV 0803 motors. A slightly open bottom design there. That's a 3-screw mount. Yeah, I don't know the exact measurements of the prop here. I think it's a 1535, but check the specs in the description. Similar canopy to the one that's on the new ET version 2 series. This sort of same styling there. Yeah, I don't see where the USB port is. This comes with the AC900 receiver. It does come in other receivers as well as no receiver versions. Yeah, can't tell, but it looks like the motors are soldered directly to the board. And there's no plugs there. Alright, so looking at the rest of the stuff that comes in the box. Okay, it comes with a micro USB cable. You get some spare props in red, which is interesting because the props that come in here are the smoke color. Not sure why they have red, a different color here. And we have some spare screws. It looks like this is probably extra ones for the motors probably, or for the props, either or. And we have an instruction manual. That's typical, looks like Chinese, and this one's in English here. Typical diagrams and setup guide. Looks like we got a sticker kit, so if you want to spice up the ducks and stuff with some stickers, you can do that. And this is for the receiver. Talks about binding. This is actually a dual mode receiver. It's Futaba and FreeSky D16. But I think it's going to be in D16 mode by default. And this is the charging adapter, very important. So this will allow you to charge the battery. Obviously you have a JST connector and then a balance lead here. So you can plug it into your hobby grade charger and charge up the battery. So you're definitely not going to want to lose this. Okay, so a quick look at the GT8. And it looks like it comes with all the same stuff. Obviously the props are going to be a different size. A little bit bigger. And the battery it's using is the same 2-cell 380 milliamp hour. And this is the drone, just the frame is bigger. I wonder if it's using the same motors. No, it's different motors. So LDARC branded. And these are 0804 motors, and the other one, and these are 7500 kV, so a little bit taller. And the ones on the GT7 are 0803. I think they're 9000 kV. Same plug in the back here. This is for holding the battery. I think that uses the same board, all on one board there. And they got the same AC900 receiver, so different frame, a little bit bigger props, a little bit bigger motor, different kV, also 2S. But I think the camera, flight controller, and video transmitter is the same. And there's the USB port. It's kind of stealth. Couldn't find it on the other one, but yeah, that's where it is. That's going to be the same on both. Yeah, it should be interesting. Obviously heavier, so if you want to know what the weight is, I'll show you that in the review later, so stay tuned for those videos.